Wow. Invest in good cases.
Kilcher from Alaska, known for his reclusive life, is making the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The discovery of shocking items in his barn stunned everyone, as he had kept a low profile for so long. What could have possibly been found that would cause such an uproar? Stick around as we uncover the full story. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Atz Kilcher, a cast member on Alaska, The Last Frontier, was never fond of the limelight. He shied away from the attention that came with fame, striving instead to live a quiet, private life. Yet beneath the facade of privacy, there lingered a man whose secrets and actions were darker than anyone could have imagined. For a long time, Atz kept to himself, spending most of his days holed up in his barn. His peculiar attachment to the barn sparked suspicion, and soon investigations were underway. What was inside that barn? What could possibly have been so troubling? But before we dive deeper into that, here's a shocking twist. Not long after the barn discovery, Atz nearly lost his life. When Atz first joined the show, he wanted the world to see the values he held dear, particularly his love for his family. Viewers loved watching him interact with his loved ones, taking time out of his busy life to connect with them. He was portrayed as a man who could weather the storms of life with courage, a hero in the Alaskan wilderness. Fans admired him for his bravery and strength. However, what many didn't know was that behind the scenes, Atz was struggling. His life had recently been filled with one misfortune after another, weakening him. Yet he continued to hide it from his audience. Rumor had it that these troubles weren't mere accidents, but clear signs of deeper issues that Atz kept hidden from even his closest loved ones. Atz always appeared composed, as if he had everything under control, but life was taking its toll on him. As the seasons passed, his vulnerability began to show. One person who worked on the show once said, "We saw the drama and the danger, but we never saw the warnings." That statement captured Atz's life perfectly. His fans saw a man on the verge of breaking down, but would he ever open up, or would he try to carry the burden alone? Not long after, Atz's personal struggles became more apparent to those around him. Many fans began to connect the dots, linking his recent troubles to something bigger. While Alaska, The Last Frontier had given him fame, it had also made him a target. With fame came the cost of privacy, a price Atz wasn't prepared to pay. Despite the growing whispers, Atz refused to let others in on his pain. Rumors swirled that he might be dealing with the agony of his public persona all by himself, a man too proud to ask for help. The Kilcher family, featured on the show, lived in one of the most remote areas of the Alaskan wilderness, and their survival was a daily challenge. They thrived without the luxuries of modern life, relying on each other for everything, from hunting to farming. Atz was the family's pillar, always presenting himself as the one who could handle everything, who could take care of his family with ease. But this tough exterior became his greatest hindrance. Atz believed it was a sign of weakness to ask for help, and this belief would eventually come back to haunt him. Atz's stoic nature and reluctance to show vulnerability led him down a dark path. No one saw the internal battles he faced. He remained that strong, fearless man viewers adored, climbing cliffs, building cabins in the wilderness, and hunting in freezing temperatures. Nothing seemed to faze him. But behind the cameras, everything was falling apart. The truth came to light in the final season of Alaska, The Last Frontier. Fans noticed a shift in Atz. He seemed distant, withdrawn, no longer the composed man they once admired. He appeared distracted, far from his usual self. In the months following the season's end, fans speculated about his well-being, and it soon became clear why. Off-camera, ATS was grappling with legal and health issues. These mounting troubles were overwhelming, and he found himself with no one to turn to. But things were about to get even worse. ATS found himself in the midst of a nearly fatal accident. While hiking in Otter Cove, Atz lost his footing and fell from a 40-foot cliff. The fall was so severe that many feared he wouldn't survive. Miraculously, he did. But he was left with significant injuries. He had broken his arm, punctured his lungs, and fractured his ankles, hips, and ribs. The injuries were severe enough to make his survival uncertain, and he spent weeks in the hospital recovering. Despite his resilience, Atz's recovery was a long and painful process. It wasn't just the physical wounds that hurt, it was the emotional toll of the accident. He was traumatized, but he hid his pain from everyone, including his family. It was clear that he had been shattered by the experience, and yet he kept it all to himself. His fans, too, felt the weight of his silence. worried about the man they had come to admire. They wondered what led to this terrible accident. Atz wasn't a novice hiker. What went wrong? As it turns out, Attia wasn't alone that day. He had been hiking with his friend Mark, and together they had been enjoying the beautiful Alaskan landscape. But as darkness fell, Atz lost his footing and fell off the cliff. His friend was unable to reach him in time, but fortunately Mark had a satellite phone and was able to call for help. Rescue teams arrived in time to save Atz's life, but his injuries were devastating. Even though Atz tried to downplay the severity of the accident, his fans were quick to notice the signs of distress. Many feared that without Mark's timely intervention, Atz might not have made it. But what was most surprising was that Jane, Atz's wife, had no idea about the accident until hours later. She was at home when she received the shocking news. Her reaction, she later admitted, was one of sheer disbelief. The news came in the middle of the night, and Jane was devastated by the toll it took on her husband. When Jane arrived at the hospital, she shared the news of Atz's condition on social media, and the flood of supportive comments from fans poured in. As Atz continued his recovery, he posted updates about his progress, sharing pictures and x-rays with his followers. A year later, he shared another picture, this time reflecting on the challenges he had faced since the accident. He expressed gratitude for the love and support he had received from his fans and spoke about how humbling the experience had been. The road to recovery was long, and the accident had forced him to slow down. He could no longer hunt or build as he once did, and it affected his self-esteem. For the first time, Atz appeared vulnerable, and his fans rallied around him. In an emotional post, Atz shared how the accident had opened his eyes to the importance of his family and friends. It had also highlighted the deep care his fans had for him. However, despite the support, Atz struggled to regain his confidence. His absence from the show caused concern among his followers, and he eventually decided to step away from filming to focus on his health. But even during his time off, Atz stayed connected with his fans, providing updates and sharing his healing journey. Just as he was starting to recover, Atz found himself facing legal troubles. After the accident, he filed a lawsuit against the Otter Cove Resort, where the accident occurred, seeking $100,000 in compensation. He argued that the resort's lack of proper warning signs and safety measures had contributed to the fall. The resort, however, denied any responsibility, claiming that Atz had been negligent during the hike. The lawsuit became a bitter battle, and Atz soon found himself entangled in a fierce legal war. Meanwhile, his troubles continued. During a hunting trip, Atz made a critical mistake that would add to his mounting legal problems. He and his group decided to use a helicopter to reach a remote area for a black bear hunt. In Alaska, using helicopters for hunting is illegal, as the state has strict laws governing wildlife and fair chase hunting. Unfortunately for Atz, his actions were reported to the authorities, and an investigation was launched. Atz and the production company were charged with violating hunting laws, and the scandal quickly became public. Fans were shocked, and many wondered how Atz had ended up in such a predicament. The case was complicated, and the investigation revealed that the hunting trip had been filmed for the show. The production company, Wilma TV, was also implicated in the case, facing charges for using illegal methods to hunt. TS, meanwhile, defended himself, stating that he had been pressured by the producers to go along with the helicopter hunt, despite knowing it was illegal. His lawyer argued that Atz had not actively hunted the bear and that the footage was misleading. The legal battle raged on, and Atz's reputation continued to suffer. As the legal drama unfolded, Atz's fans began to question everything they thought they knew about him. They had admired him for his toughness and bravery, but now they saw a man struggling with his own demons. The incident with the helicopter hunt had cast a dark shadow over his public image, and fans were left to wonder if they would ever see the man they once admired again. The scandal was a blow not only to Atz, but to the entire Alaska, the last frontier production. As the legal battle continued, the Kilcher family's personal lives were under intense scrutiny. Atz's children, particularly Otto, became the target of online rumors. Lies spread that Otto was dead, causing great distress to Atz and his family. He had worked hard to protect his children from the harsh spotlight, but it seemed impossible to shield them from the media's prying eyes. Despite everything, Atz stood by his children, defending them against the lies and rumors that plagued them. The relentless scrutiny, however, was taking a toll on the entire family. But it wasn't just Atz who faced challenges. Jane, too, found herself grappling with the fallout from the scandal. Despite her desire to keep her children away from the public eye, the media relentlessly dragged them into the spotlight. Jane made a powerful statement on social media, explaining her decision to keep her children out of the show and protect them from the harsh realities of fame. Her fans supported her decision, applauding her for being a protective and loving mother. Yet, despite her efforts, the media continued to focus on her family, and the pressure mounted. In the midst of all this turmoil, Jane made a decision that shocked everyone. She and Atz were getting a divorce. After 17 years of marriage, the couple decided to part ways. The announcement came as a complete surprise to their fans, who had always believed in the strength of their relationship. Jane revealed that Atz's past infidelities had taken a heavy emotional toll on their marriage, and despite their shared history, she felt it was time to move on. In a candid interview, Jane opened up about her marriage, the challenges she faced, and the impact of Atz's actions on their family. Her vulnerability struck a chord with her fans, who admired her strength and resilience. Jane's honesty about the difficulties in her marriage made it clear that things weren't as perfect as they had appeared on the show. It was a heartbreaking revelation for those who had long admired their relationship. As Jane navigated the painful process of divorce, she also turned her attention to the community. She became increasingly involved in advocating for sustainable living and the preservation of Alaska's traditions. In a show of strength, she poured her energy into supporting the causes she believed in, gaining even more admiration from her fans. While Jane's life seemed to be moving in a new direction, the questions surrounding her marriage to Atz lingered. How would they both move on? Would Atz ever recover from his struggles? And what about the Kilcher family's future? Only time would tell.